Life is good. I hope you enjoy life as you are living it because it's to be enjoyed. But more than just enjoying life, I just hope that you take some notes. I just hope that you keep some memories somewhere. This is Book Talk. I am your host, Anthony Moirori. At Book Talk, we have authors come and tell us stories. They come and tell us about their books that they have written and about their journey in general. And today we have a guest who's written about life flashes. Her name is Merrie Reagan, and she's gonna be here shortly. And as she comes, I would like to remind you to please share this with all your friends. If you have questions, please ask them. If you have comments, we love feedback. We appreciate your time with us here. And now, without taking one more minute, because we need to hear about this book that we are going to discuss today. Let's go and meet Merrie. Here we go. Hello, Merrie.
Good morning, Anthony. How are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Good, thank you.
Yes, welcome to Book Talk.
Oh, thank you. Good to talk with you. Pleasure to be
Yeah,
with you.
yeah, we are always excited to have authors with us talking about their books.
Well, it's I appreciate the opportunity to send word out about Life Flashes, a memoir, which is a book that I wrote using a pen name, Merrie Reagan.
Okay,
Yeah, the book was written from 2007 to 2021. It was over a
okay.
14-year period, and it's in diary form. So it's
Mhm.
something that might appeal to young and old because it's easy to it's like it's somewhat like the internet. I mean, some of the even in the passages that are 20, the chapters that are say 20 pages long, there's usually not an entry that's more than 5 pages. So and then there are other entries that are a couple of paragraphs long. So
Wow.
it's big ideas broken up into small pieces, and you can decide. It makes it relatively easy for you to decide how much you want to, um, how much of it you want to consume in a given time.
Wow, live flashes. That's
Yeah,
wonderful. And we will be glad to know a bit of what is in there you're going to be sharing with us. Now, can we maybe find out where in the world are you right now?
I am on the South Shore of Massachusetts,
Mm,
which is in a town called Cohasset. It's a town where I grew up, and Cohasset's about 30 miles south of Boston, Massachusetts. So,
beautiful.
do you want additional clarification, or it's in the United States?
No, that's enough. It's in the
Okay,
United
good.
States.
Okay.
And we are good to know that. Now, I'm curious, as we are always curious, when we have authors here, or when you meet with an author somewhere. Were you born an author? Did you have family members who had books, written books, and published books? When in life did you start writing? Did you
Zero. I have
zero?
none of my family members are none of my family members are. I don't know. It was something I didn't. I had no intention of writing a book. I
Mm-hmm.
started writing a journal in 2007, and then after I underwent a spiritual conversion, and I said 3 years later, I said, "Oh, I think it's a book. I'm going to
Mm,
continue with it until it's done." Had I known then it was going to be another 11 years before I finished it, I might not have finished it. Um, So I think that this is the reason why we're often not advised about, why things are going, when things are going to happen in life, or why. Because, but I remember I do remember the first story that I wrote. I was in the fifth grade, and I was at a school called Deer Hill Elementary School, and there was a
Mhm.
farm behind the school, and there was a fire at the farm, and I could
Mhm.
see, we all could see it, right? I mean, we were sitting right behind it. You could see the flames going up.
Mhm.
And so I wrote a story about that. And I remember I think I received an A or an A minus, and I
Mhm.
was thrilled. But um, I, you know, I just thought, I just remember I really enjoyed the experience. And then when I decided to leave the education field, I became a freelance writer for a newspaper for a couple of years, doing uh, writing feature news articles and feature stories. And again, I remember just the sense of freedom, a kind of freedom that I had never experienced before when I was writing. And even when I was writing the diary at home, Life Flashes, a memoir at home, there were times, and there still are, there are times when I would feel this electricity coming through my arms and my fingers, and I would see what I was writing. I was like, I can't write that. I
Mhm.
couldn't write that. That's coming
Mhm.
from someplace else. So there is just a sense of freedom. It gives you, I remember somebody once saying, very interestingly, one of the gifts of being a writer is that it allows you to live life all over again, because
Mhm.
you're stepping back and looking at it and processing it. And I find it, I find it a joy. I find writing a joy. Even now, I don't know whether I'll write another book. Um, However, I am continuing to write feature stories, and I didn't know that whether I would even be doing that, but I'm finding that I am really enjoying that. And I love, it's writing is something similar to performing. I'm a ballroom dance student, and I've been a singer, all amateur. But there's a something about when you connect with a person through writing, when you know that you've touched their heart,
Mhm.
or you've touched their mind, that there's some kind of conversion going on there. You can't, there's no price you can put on that.
Yeah.
Zero.
Yeah. I agree with you.
So,
Yes, and it's a joy. Writing is a joy. And as you say, sometimes and many times we never know where we are going to end up tomorrow. We go into a position or situation that we had never imagined ever in our own life. It's kind of the same way that went into writing and I became a published author. I had not imagined myself like that.
what's the name of your book? I'd like to read it.
Perhaps several. One of them is Be Good for Good.
Okay.
Yes, Be Good
Uh,
for Good. It's got stories of goodness with lessons on life.
mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what triggered you to start writing your diary at that time?
Well, I think I had been writing it one a diary before, uh, and I had actually, as said before, I had put it aside because, pardon me, I felt as though I was ruminating a good deal in it, going over things over and over again, and I said, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't like what I don't like the way I'm writing. I don't want to look at what I'm writing.
Mm-hmm.
So in January of 2007, underwent a spiritual conversion.
Mm-hmm.
I was very ill then. I was living in a group home with some people, and Um, I walked outside the house the first day in January. I was very lightly dressed, and it was probably about, I don't know, 30, 28, 30 degrees. And I started walking down the street, and I thought, I don't think I can go on much longer. I'm not well. I don't. Um, I don't think I'm going to recover, and I can't go on in this state of mind much longer. And then I feel as though uh, God was talking with me, although I didn't realize it, asking me, "Well, do you want to go on? Is this the way you want your life to end?"
Mm-hmm.
And I said, "No, I don't. I don't
Mm-hmm.
want my life." Even though I just was surrounded with massive darkness, I said, "No, I don't want life to end this way." And as soon as I said that, I realized God was there. No, no question, none, ever again. God
Mm-hmm.
is there. God exists. So I was walking along and talking with God, and I just said, well, these are the things I'm upset about. I'm not financially stable. I'm not in a relationship. I don't own a house. I don't own a car. Um, and and I did this particular thing, and I don't forgive myself for it. And I heard the voice of God say to me, I forgave you these things for years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I said, so I'm, by then the tears are falling down this face. And I said, well, thank you, but I don't know how to go forward. I don't know how to live again.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm walking up a street called High Street, and all of a sudden I feel this spiritual hand composed of exceedingly bright white light reaching down to me and
Mm-hmm.
saying, come with me. I will show you how to live again. On that day, I I stopped consuming the antidepressant medication that I had been prescribed for 2 years, and I haven't ever gone back to it again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then 3 weeks later, I stopped smoking, just like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I had been smoking a pack of cigarettes a day
Wow.
for 2 years before I did that. And then recently, God willing, it's been increasingly challenging for me to do this, but um, I stopped drinking coffee
Mm.
because I mean I know that people can do it and it doesn't bother them, but for me it causes me significant health issues. But I didn't feel the confidence to do it, and I would just
Mhm.
keep slipping back into it. And I'm it's just it's really what it is all about is trust.
Mhm. Trust.
That's the bottom line of every relationship: trust and respect. It's not about money. Um, it's about actually really that trust is really goodwill, kindness, respect, and cooperation. If there is goodwill in a relationship,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how well or the relationship's going along. It may be going well or it may not. But if there's goodwill in a relationship, that holds it together as solid as a rock.
Mm.
You know.
So, live flashes. For anybody who may be joining us right now, this is Book Talk, and we are with Merrie Reagan talking about Life Flashes, a memoir that she wrote. And we are going to hear some of the ideas or some of the experiences that you may want to share with us that are in that book. But even before we go into that, we noted and you told us that you wrote it with a pen name.
Hmm.
Now, why the choice? What drove you into that? I mean, why did you
Well,
choose?
I wasn't in. I didn't intend to write it with a pen name.
Okay.
Um, you were talking about uncertainty.
Yeah.
And one of the things but this is a little bit of a sidebar, but one of the things that I've learned late in life, all the things that I'm doing now, which there's a number of things that I didn't plan to do, are
Mm-hmm.
things that I am fully enjoying. When in younger years, I became a teacher because I felt as though that's what was expected of me.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't dislike it, but it wasn't fulfilling because
Okay.
it wasn't born of passion. Um, there was passion. I mean, I loved children,
Mm,
but I wasn't meant to be a teacher, and it took me a while to come to terms with that. But I did. But and now going back to what you asked me about the pen name,
mm,
uh, I initially wanted to write it without a pen name, but there were people who were represented in the book that were not comfortable with being called by their given names.
okay.
And I was upset. I was upset about that because I thought there really isn't anything in the book that's harmful or anything of this nature.
Mm-hmm.
But and then after a while, I said it's important for you to be respectful of these people. You may think that their anxiety is not legitimate, but it's important for you to respect that they are not comfortable with it.
Yeah, sure.
So, and the other thing was too that the book, it meant changing 166 names.
Mm.
So by the end, I'm pulling names out of the air: Harry,
Yeah,
Louie, Joey, Sheila.
yeah,
But
and
actually, by the end of it, I really enjoyed it. It was fun. It was fun
yeah.
making up the names, and I'm glad that I did it now because I want to. I want to. I want the people who, uh, not only the people that are named in the book to feel comfortable, but I also want to encourage the reading audience to be respectful of the privacy of these people.
That's very good. It's
Thank you.
a good thing. Now, draw us into your world. Tell us what's in there, in the life flashes. Some ideas, some experiences. We'll be glad to have a glimpse even before you go to the flashes inside.
Well, I would say briefly, um, it's about author interactions with national, local, personal, and animal figures.
Mm-hmm.
It's a story about recovery beyond illness, unemployment, and broken relationships. And it's a testament demonstrating that profound love remains amidst and beyond all life circumstances. If
Mm-hmm.
I were to asked to summarize it in using three words, I would say promise, suffering, sorry, four words, unimaginable love. If I were to elaborate on this summary a bit, I'd say that it's about promise, suffering, and unimaginable love. The story is about promise, suffering, and unimaginable love, and it was regularly sprinkled with good humor. There's
Mm-hmm.
humor all throughout the book, and I think that that's a good sign for a writer when there's humor in what they write. Because if there's no humor, there's no faith.
Yeah.
You see, that's one of the signs that a person is um, not emotionally, mentally, or emotionally well. Is they've lost the ability to laugh about anything.
Mm.
Yeah,
Interesting. Interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, there are several things that you mentioned, but I will maybe draw a few, one or two, and you tell us about what it is that you talk about. You talk about gender roles, and then you compare it, or you draw some lessons from the Bible. Can you
Mhm.
maybe let me have a clue of what that means? What the were there the experiences you went through? Are there some stories that you've read and you'd like to share in like lessons to the person who's listening?
Well, I think that where gender is concerned, the body, the in biblical tradition, uh, and it's not just because it's in the Bible; it's universal truth
Mm,
that the body is male or female. The spirit is not. The
mm-hmm.
spirit is male and female.
Yeah,
So the God does not make mistakes.
yeah.
When you are created, when life was breathed into you, um, you were made, male or female.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that uh, throughout life, everybody, uh, we all throughout life we discover different aspects of androgyny within us from the
Mm,
time we're children. For
yeah.
example, a nephew one evening, this is when he was young. He's 17 now, but he used to carry around two naked Barbie dolls,
Mm,
right? And so, and he used to like to dress up in girls' clothes.
mm-hmm.
And not all the time, but once, just from time to time. So one time I went to visit his father, a brother, and he came into the study where the brother and I were talking, and he had on a dress,
Mm-hmm.
and he was probably about, I don't know, 10 years old. So the brother looked at me and said, and he had on a dress and a big smile on his face.
Yeah.
He's like laughing.
Mm-hmm.
So, and the brother says to me, well, if he's doing that when I'm 13, I'll be a little when he's 13, I'll be a little bewildered. But I would say, he's just what he's doing. And something that we all do is we express male and female sides of self throughout our life. I love to be feminine, but I can sound like a man in 2 seconds. I
Mm-hmm.
can sound like I'm at a football game. Does that mean I'm a man? No, I'm not a man. I'm a woman.
No, you're not. No.
Everybody has, and you learn to embrace these aspects of life, the aspects of personality throughout life, and also too, I think people tend to be sometimes can be too uptight about gender. I mean, I would say 90% of the reason I'm 90% certain that the reason that the nephew was wearing that dress came in and had a big smile on his face because he knows it riles his father. He's doing it for a joke.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be so serious about it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Yes.
So anyway, I
Yes.
think it's just something that you learn. Uh, it's we are all given male and female aspects of personality, and it's something to maturity and maturity is something to enjoy.
Mm,
It's not intended to be a painful process for certain people. It's a joyful process for everyone. It's a it's a painful process for everyone, no matter whether you are a person who is interested in marriage
mm,
or companionship or friendship or soul brothers or being soul brothers and soul sisters, um, guy friends, girlfriends, all these relationships are similar. They're not the same. And, for example, it's important to be, if you're really adept, say, at friendship,
mm-hmm.
it's important that you because there are some people that aren't ever going to be able to evolve to that level.
Yeah.
There are some people that aren't ever gonna, in other words, what I say to people, about things in life, the only reason that I am where I am in life is because um, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna be successful at what you're doing. If I
Mm,
knew how to do what you're doing, I'd be doing it, but I don't know how to do it.
mm-hmm.
So, so I just think that I think that puts it into perspective. Only God is a loving God, and only a loving God would say, "Well, you're like because you're this lifestyle, your life's going to be much harder than anybody else's, and we're just going to kind of put you on the fringe of society." Not true. We're all one. We're all one human family.
Sure.
So anyway.
Yeah, we are all one. All human are one.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
we don't have to discriminate from one to the other
No,
just
no,
because of this or that.
we're not Siamese twins, but we
Yeah,
are very similar.
yeah.
You know.
So that goes to everyone who's listening or watching. Gabriel, thank you for saying great. And Muhammad, we have you here. Muhammad Usman, thank you for greetings. Remember, we are one, all of us. And this is Book Talk. We are talking about life flashes. And there's so much in that book. And I discovered that is under reproduction, or what? Tell us what is happening
Yes,
to it right
it's
now.
actually it's a new edition of the book is coming out very soon in August,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm very and there'll be also a new website. A new website's being developed for the book, so I'm very enthused about that, and I hope it's. I'm looking forward to sending that out to the readers, potential readers, and I'm hoping they'll enjoy it.
Yeah, and you mentioned about potential leaders. Who is this book aimed for?
I would say that it is for anybody who enjoys, I'd say probably about maybe 12 or up, who wants to go on a journey with a fellow human being who's also an author, who wants to undergo a journey that's uncertain, it's fascinating, and it's rewarding.
Mm,
Uh, and I don't know if you want me to say anything else.
yeah, that's enough for now. So we will be expecting the new edition. But meanwhile, everybody can go and get the book on Amazon. Yes, I swear
Mhm.
it's on Amazon.
Yes, it's
So
on
you can
Amazon, yeah.
always go to the description of this video or audio, whatever it is that you're watching or listening to, and get the book. It's there. And when the new edition comes up, you still will be able to see it there from the same. I mean, once you follow Merrie on that on Amazon, then you can always find out when the new edition is coming. And what other things would you like to mention before we go that are in the live flashes that you think the reader is going to be interested in finding out more about?
I think it's, well, I guess one of the things that I'd like to mention is that uh, you find that the circumstances for me in the beginning of the book are very similar to what they
Mm-hmm.
are at the end.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the things haven't changed, but what has changed is me. There's a lightness in me. There's an understanding that that life is not essentially about what size house you live in, what size car you drive, whether you're married or not. All those things are accidents.
Mm,
Life is truly about who you are inside amid changing circumstances.
mm-hmm.
And that's something that only faith can teach you. Only God can teach you that. No human entity, they can influence it, but they can't teach you contentment. That's what you can be happy. Oh, I'm happy about a new car. Happy I met somebody or I'm seeing somebody new. Happy I'm moving to a new place. But only God can teach you to be content no matter what your circumstances are. And when you learn that, you become a very steady person. You don't have any, you don't experience highs and lows of mood that you do when your life is founded on happiness.
Mm.
you know and so, and the other thing too is you're able to interact with a lot of the people that I met nationally. National figures are people that I met at the JFK library in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm,
I was a little uncertain about including them in the book. I said, well, you didn't meet them personally. And then I thought, well, you know um, it really doesn't matter whether you met them personally, as long as you can bring an aspect of who they are to light that the audience will appreciate. They
mm,
don't really care where you met them.
yeah.
So I met people that I wouldn't normally. I met former President Barack Obama, former First Lady Rosalind Carter, former ABC News anchor Charles Gibson,
Mm-hmm.
Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker. And so you find that we're all very similar, all very similar. and it's wonderful to meet people. It's like going on a vacation, and um, I love going when you look outside who you are. You go on a vacation from being you, and I love going on a vacation from being me regularly because it gives you an appreciation of God, appreciation of other people, what they go through. I mean, I've seen people on a regular basis that I look at their lives and I think, oh, God bless you. I could not handle what I see you going through. I couldn't handle it for 5 minutes. And it's not intended to give a person a guilt trip.
Mm-hmm.
It's intended to say, it's tended to help develop compassion in us for other people, but also to say to attest to the fact that we are not ever given something we can't handle, because we see other people every day that we look at and we say, oh gosh, I couldn't handle that for 5 minutes.
Yeah, and the good thing with looking at other people and learning from other people is that the experiences that they go through, if you reflect them on yourself, you can always face life better. You can always appreciate every single day
Yeah.
that you're living. And
Yeah, well, I think that, and just a lot of things that happened, that there are miracles in the book. There's a miracle in which my dog juror, he's passed away now, but he went into a river to wade, and he got caught in the current.
mm,
And at first, I was going to jump in to swim toward him, and then I realized the current was too heavy for me to overcome it.
mm,
So, so I see him moving away from me, and I call to him, expressing love and sorrow. And I think, okay, he's gone. He's not, and I feel completely abandoned. And I hear a voice
mm,
saying, "Don't be afraid. I'm with you. I'm right. I'm here." Wouldn't you know? At that minute, around the bend comes a boat with two people in it. There isn't anything else in sight. The people are going toward him, and then they say, "Do you want help?" And I say, "Yes." And so they go toward him, and then they look as though they're passing him, and I'm thinking, I'm like, "Oh gosh, what are you doing?"
mm,
And so then I say, uh, so the lady in the boat, there's a lady and a man. She says, "Do you want help?" I say, "Yes." So what I didn't realize is that while the two in the lady and the man are in the boat, the man's driving it, steering it.
mm,
And what I'm realizing, and they probably passed him because at the time they're strategizing. Well, what are we going to do to save this dog? The dog is 70 pounds. If we pull a 70-pound wet dog into the boat, the boat's probably going to capsize.
mm,
So what they did was so the second time I said, yes, I want help. And then they found a way. They straddled over beside him, and they just straddled beside him and then just pushed him with the boat to the shore.
mm.
So there's no other explanation for it than it's a miracle.
Yes,
And then you also meet, there's, I mean, so many things, life, people say, oh, things don't change. That's not true. You're not the same person you were 5 minutes ago, and neither am I. Life is in
mm,
a continual state of change. I mean, look what happened to an ABC News reporter, Bob Woodward. He was in Iraq covering the war, and he was in a tank with U.S. soldiers. In an instant,
mm,
a section of his brain was gone because they were shot at by enemy fire, and
Awesome.
that changed his life and the life. I mean, I look at that and I think I don't know how. God bless you. I don't know how you do it, and I admire the family very much. So, and there's all kinds of I think it helps you to appreciate uh, that life is short, and and when you as you do appreciate that, you realize what a gift it is. It's a beautiful gift, and yet
Yeah.
you can go through with, and that with a relationship with God. I'm appreciating this even more because when I was younger, I was like, oh, religion's a crutch. I'm not going to be dependent on God. That's just being codependent. I'm not doing
Mm,
that.
mm,
And now later in life, as I'm in recovery, I see it even more and more. Being in a relationship, depending on God, is a way is a way to become fully independent. Fully independent. You can't be fully independent without being in a relationship with God.
Wow, that's a good one.
Yeah, I was just thinking that's so neat to have moved beyond that feeling that that being dependent on God is weak, and
Mm,
to realize no, that's how you become fully independent and
mm,
fully and joyfully independent.
mm.
So,
Wow, yeah, that's true. That's true. So, thank you very much, Mary. It's been an
oh,
honor
you're welcome.
having you here. We are almost coming to the end of this episode. We really appreciate you for taking your time to be here with us and sharing with us some live flashes.
Yeah, that's why I actually why I'm glad you brought that up, life flashes, because that is what there is an experience in the book
Mm-hmm,
in which I undergo I am in an accident and I go unconscious. And so I have an afterlife experience. That's where I undergo an afterlife experience where life flashes before me.
mm-hmm,
And so I won't say anything more about that, but so anyway, when I was writing, just a little bit of humor, when I was writing the book, I was thinking, I don't know what the title is going to be. So I went to the hairdresser. Right? You only a hairdresser knows for sure, right? That's what they used to say. That was a saying that was popular years ago. Only a hairdresser knows for sure. So I'm sitting in the chair, and I said, I'm writing a book, and I'm hemming and hawing about the titles, and so I said, well, she said, well, okay, what's your first title? I said, Remembering. She looks at me like, good luck selling a book with that title. So she's we're like, what else? What else you got? So then I said, Life Flashes. She goes, okay, okay. What's the third title? Flash Life. She said, She says, I like Life Flashes. So there, in the hairdresser chair, the title of Life Flashes, a memoir, was born.
wow, that's good.
The end.
The end. Yes, that's the
Yeah.
yeah.
What
So
a
we
pleasure! What a pleasure it was to work with you. As I said before, Anthony, before I even met you, I had heard about you and I saw something about you online, and something in me said he's a very professional interviewer. I don't know why I thought that, but just something in my gut says he'd be a really interesting person with whom to work. So thank
wow,
you.
wow. I'm humbled
Yeah.
by those
Oh,
words. Wow. Thank you. So
you're
we
welcome. So
appreciate.
maybe we can reconnect when the book is republished in August, maybe sometime.
Yeah, sure. So
Yeah,
for everyone who's listening or watching, stay tuned because when the book is republished, you're gonna see Mary again here.
yeah, and you're welcome to bring, if you've read it, or you're welcome to bring any questions. I love to. That's one of the joys of being a writer. That's the icing on the cake,
Hmm.
is connecting with readers. Without that, it's eh,
Yeah.
you know.
So is going to be there this episode on all the social platforms that I am on. It's going to be on our website. That's bookplacemedia.com. It's going to be on all the audio platforms, Audible, Spotify, iTunes. You can always find our episodes by looking for Book Talk at Bookplace. You're going to find it there. So stay tuned, share with everyone that you are with, and we appreciate all the viewers, all the readers. Keep reading. This has been Book Talk today. And as we are coming to the end of this show, I have been your host, Anthony Murore, and together with our guest today, Merrie Reagan, we're saying bye for now. Yeah, and once again, keep reading.
Good day.